What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So just last night, MHD has dropped an update. So we got version 9 maps now, which is great considering that version 8 was okay and version 8.1 had a lot of issues for a lot of people, including myself. Version 8 was smooth, sure, but it just made my car feel so sluggish, so I've been running version 7. So today we're going to go ahead and put version 9 on. I'm going to show you how to tune. I'm going to show you how to data log. I'm going to show you how to read those data logs and a few little things along the way. So let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy the video. So first step, download MHD onto the device that you're going to use. Make sure you get the right version of MHD for the right car. And then you're either going to need a Wi-Fi adapter or you're going to need a Caden cable. If you're going through the cable, I still suggest you go through beamergeeks.com. They have the best, most reliable cable. And then if you're going with a Wi-Fi adapter like I have done myself here, I think there's Burger Motorsports, Twisted Tuning, and maybe one or two other dealers that will have it. You can just go on MHD website and they'll tell you exactly what it is. So in my case, I'm using a Wi-Fi adapter. Regardless of Wi-Fi adapter or cable, once you get the app installed, you go ahead and plug it in, like so. You'll go ahead and grab your keys, and you'll put it in, and then you'll press the button one time so everything turns on. And then you want to go ahead and turn off everything electronic that you can, so dash cams, chargers, blah, 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 whatever. If it's your first time tuning, highly suggest put on a battery charger, have another car hooked up, running, something. So then what you're going to want to do is you go into Wi-Fi here. Once you get into Wi-Fi, you should see, if you're using the Wi-Fi one. If you're not using Wi-Fi, don't worry about it. Connect to MHD here. So we're good and connected. Also, something that's very important is make sure that you have your phone on airplane mode. And then when you start tuning, either sit in your car or leave the windows down. You don't want to be opening, closing doors. You don't want to do anything to mess this up. So now what we do is we open up the app, and we'll be at this. Oops, well, sorry, that won't happen to you. That's because I messed with settings. But you'll be at this here. Now, if you need to buy the maps still and using the Wi-Fi adapter, what you'll do is, now that you've been connected, you will go ahead and switch back to normal Wi-Fi so that you can actually purchase the maps, and the MHD will remember your VIN, and that's what will purchase the maps too. So that's how that works. So we will go into Flash MHD Maps, and then we see here version 9 maps beta 1. So that's what I'm going to go with. I am running stage 2, and I will do 91 octane because the best I have around here is 92. I have a manual transmission, so that's all that you do here. I'm going to go into my options, see if there's anything new. So I have exhaust burble on, shift bug, turbo wastegate rattle, and my minimum idle set. That's all good. These are all options you can mess with. Exhaust burble, that's completely up to you on what you want to do with it or not. This shift bug here completely helped me. Amazing if you have a manual transmission. Turbo wastegate rattle, my turbos wastegate rattle is really bad, so that helps me out. Minimum idle is just something I did for myself. Then what I'm going to do here is hit map right. So for me, it's only 2 minutes long because I've already done tuning in the previous time. If it's your first time tuning and you're using a Wi-Fi adapter, I think it'll take about 20 minutes or so. I'm not too sure how long it takes with the cable now, because I know they sped it up with the cable a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and let this do its thing. It's only going to take about a minute, and then we'll be right back. And it will make a bunch of weird noises and things. That's perfectly okay. That's normal. Alright, so once it's all done, it'll say success. Turn off ignition and wait 30 seconds. So what I do, pull it out. I lock my car, just because when it locks, it does fully shut down everything. That's just something that I do. And now we will wait 30 seconds, and we will just start the car up. So we'll just go ahead and solid startup. So now let's say you want to monitor. Monitoring is another program that you're going to have to buy, but no big deal. So you'll hit monitor here, hit options, and there's a lot of things that you could check here. Here's everything that I have checked. Slowly go through it here. these are just the things I choose to monitor when I do data logging. You can have your gauges layout, so that's where this setting is. And manual or auto, it doesn't matter. Usually I have my phone set up like this. So here I have my boost PSI, that's self-explanatory, coolant temperature, oil temperature, inlet air temperature, fuel low pressure, and rail. So this is your high pressure fuel pump, low pressure fuel pump. When your car is warmed up and idling, this should hover around, I believe it's 600, 700-ish, somewhere around there. If you're doing a wide open throttle pull, this should be near the 3000s or more. And this should always be at 45 or more. Mine's consistently at 145, which sometimes I think that maybe my why am I blanking on it? The sensor's broken, but when I look at data logs, it does fluctuate. So that's where I have mine at. If you're daily driving the car, I usually leave it on manual logging, just because on auto logging, if you ever decide to do a pull just for fun, it'll log it. And you know, it's just like, I don't need that many logs. So daily driving to monitor logging, manual logging. And if I'm actually trying to do a log, I will go into auto logging. So I'll show you how those work here in a second. Now, something that real quick I'm going to add in, something that's really important, is warm your car up. Drive your car gently for 10-15 minutes. I usually wait until my oil temperature is at least about 180 or so before I do hard pulls. Especially true for data logging. You want your car to be nice and warmed up for when you're data logging, so you don't have any inconsistencies. Because one, it's just not good to run your car cold. It's bad for the parts. Everything's not lubricated, warmed up yet. But you want to be consistent, so let your car warm up. So I'm going to warm my car up, and then we'll talk about how to data. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to data log right now, even though I'm not going to do it because my car is still cold. This is just the safest place to do it. So let's say you are ready to data log, your car is warmed up. So what you want to do is you'll go into monitor auto logging. You can do manual logging. I prefer to do auto logging because I like to be more focused and keep my eyes on the road longer than I can, or longest that I can. So you go to monitor auto logging, and you'll have this all pop up, and there's a little thing that'll say ready here. So all you're gonna do from there is you're gonna get into third gear. Preferably you'd want to be in fourth, but you know, a lot of us don't have access to a road that's long enough, so you'll be in third. And then what you'll do is you'll hover around 2000 RPMs or so, and then you'll just slam your foot on the floor. Of course, it'll be kind of a slow start, but then the boost will kick in and all that. So once you're third gear, 2000 RPM, slam the foot on the floor, you'll want to go to about 6,000 RPMs or so. Once you hit 6,000 RPMs, go ahead and shift into fourth, and then hold, slam on your foot to the floor for about 1 to 2 seconds after that, and then you're good and done there. That's with auto logging. Let's say you want to do manual logging for whatever reason, so monitor manual logging. It'll be the same thing. Go into third gear, get around 2,000 RPMs, you just press start log, full throttle it, wait until about 6,000 RPMs, maybe a little bit afterwards, go into fourth, keep your foot to the floor for about 1 or 2 seconds, and then shift into sixth gear, neutral, whatever it is you got to do, and then you'll hit stop log. If you drive a manual, use a Stepatronic, go into sports mode, paddle shifters, whatever you got to do to keep yourself in third gear. Also, another thing that's very important is when you are doing data logs, you have to turn off your traction control, DCS, all of that. So you have your DTC button. If you press it once, it'll turn off your DTC, but that's not what you need to do. What you need to do is hold it for about 5 seconds, and you'll have that pop up. That's what you need to be shown, and you can just clear it by hitting BC. So when you're doing a data log, you should have that turned off. Turn all that off, and you'll have that turned on there. Traction control can sometimes mess up, and it'll hiccup you, stuff like that. So it's just best to have it off. So let me go ahead and warm my car up. We'll do a data log, and then I'll show you how to read data logs, how to upload them, all of that. Alrighty, so got my car warmed up. 187. So like I said, we will go to auto logging, and I'll just go ahead and get into the road here. Make sure nobody's coming. Perfect. So like I said, you want to get to third gear, be around 3,000 RPMs or 2,000 RPMs, and then alrighty, so when able to, you'll go back home or coffee shop or wherever, and you'll connect to some real Wi-Fi. You go ahead and go back into MHD here, and what you'll do is you will then not do that. We will go to monitoring. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either do graph a log, which is fine if you want to do something real quick. So I'll just, let's see here, version 9. That's where ours was. It's a big giant mess. So what we'll do, or the better way to do it here is, that's annoying. Like I said, yours won't be flashing back like that. That's just an annoying setting that I have. You'll go to datazap.me, and you'll set up an account. If you need one, I already have one set up. You'll do upload a log up there in the corner. Oops, you'll tap it. English CCV. We will go ahead, browse file. We'll hit files. So the way to get to where I am right now, I think it'll usually start here. You'll hit settings, and then you'll hit show internal storage. Mine's already clicked. So then you'll go here. You'll go Samsung device or whatever your device is called. You will find MHD. There it is. Then you'll go to data logging. And now we're just going to find the one we took just now, which is this one. We'll give it a title of V9. And I want it to be public. And then save. So that's saved there. It'll create the log here. And you can look at it through here. But I personally prefer to look at it at a computer. And I'm going to switch over to a computer. And you guys are going to switch over to desktop screen. And then I'll go over how to read this. Alright, so here we have everything pulled up. Let's see, so when you first start it up, it will look just like this. This is exactly how yours is going to look when you put it on. Here you have your boost and you have your RPM. This is why I like looking on the computer, is because you have your cursor here. If you saw something extra funky, you could left click and drag and it'll zoom into that specific part. If you really need to do that, you can just zoom out here. So here's how we're going to read this. So boost is boost, RPMs are RPM. We have a nice steady climb of the RPM, so that looks good. Oopsies. Here we can see this little of things. That's just when I shifted. Okay, so this little thing here, this is perfectly fine being all wonky looking. So you want a nice smooth ride up with the RPMs. If you're seeing some jaggedness in it, it could be a slight misfire. That's not like a full misfire, so engine will throw a code. There could be a few things for it, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So first thing that I like to look at is, so here we have, so if you have some jaggedness in RPMs, you could turn on your, this just shows you what percentage your pedal is to the floor. So here we floored it, it's staying floored, shifted gears, I keep doing that, shifted gears, floored again. So if your foot's to the floor, but this is all out of whack, it could just have something to do with the sensor or something along that lines. It could be a very easy fix. But since my RPM's smooth, I don't really need to look at that. We'll look at boost target PSI. So this lighter yellow tan color is what your car wants to be hitting. This darker orange is what your car actually is hitting. So it looks like between 2,000 to 3,000 RPMs, I'm not hitting the target where I should be.
And this is actually because I have, oh, cool. This is actually because I have my wastegate rattle fix on, and it does create some lag. So this is the lag here. 3000 RPMs, it does kick on. And you know, this early RPM thing for me, it's really not too bad because for one, I do a lot of roll racing and just highway driving, stuff like that. So boost is, you know, when you're roll racing, your RPM's at 4,000 or something, you do some brake boosting, you're fine. You know, for me, it doesn't matter. If I were to turn wastegate rattle fix off, I'd probably be caught up here. Also, this low of an RPM in third gear just never happens. First gear, second gear, if you're hitting this high of boost, you're just going to spin tires anyway. So this is perfectly fine. This all looks good. Nothing to worry about there. This is just coolant. It's coolant. So next up we have our cylinder timing corrections. This is exactly what I want it to look like. 0 cylinder timing corrections all across the board. Beautiful. Cylinder 2, we have a dip here of -3. So a -3 degree cylinder timing correction is okay. That's fine. And this happens right after a shift as well. You know, maybe I didn't shift that smooth or anything, so that's fine. No problem there. And it looks like all my cylinder 3 or 2, 4, and 6, so all on the same side have the same correction, so it's fine. While cylinder 3, 5, and 1, well, not 5. So that has a timing correction of -3 as well, but it's also -3, so it's within okay spec. If you're having corrections that are over -3, so i.e. -4, -5, etc., then there's a few things that could be the issue. It could be that you're getting basically heat soak, like your IATs are just too high. And with that, that fix is just intercooler. You know, get some better intakes. Um, it could be your octane isn't where it should be, so dump some octane booster, let it cycle in, do a run, see if that helps it. Spark plugs, coils, there's a few things on it. None of them are too difficult to do, actually. Next up, we have our low fuel pressure, and you always want this to be above 45. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, mine has always at 145 solid, but here we see in the log that it does dip a little bit, 136, perfectly fine. Again, the lowest it ever gets is 99.2. So very healthy low pressure fuel pump. I have no issues with that there. Again, you want it to be over 45. Next up, we'll take a look at, let's see, where's it? Rail pressure. This is your high pressure fuel pump. Here we can see at the high, we're getting right around 3,000, which is exactly what you want it. Wide open throttle, you want it at 3,000. And as the RPMs go up, the fuel drops off. This makes perfect sense. This is fine. This looks good. It's nice and steady. Again, we have this thing going on here, but that's just because of me switching gears. And you can see that I throttle it back on and it's at 2,400. So it looks good. This, if you see it, I mean, even at idle, like I said, it should be around 700, maybe 800. If you look here, just cruising, uh, it's at 900. So if it's really low, that could be signs of your fuel pump going out. So those are basically the things people typically look at. You do have your actual timing cylinders. Um, this is somewhat hard to look at, but basically what we're looking for is it's all roughly the same. It looks like cylinder 3 is a little bit out of touch, but it's also in line with cylinder 1. So all the cylinders are basically going together. Nothing looks too crazy here. Like it's nice, it's steady. Gear change, we're not going to worry about that. And this is when I let off the throttle. So as you can see here, this looks good. This is good. It's basically mirroring it. It's being steady, so we're fine there. Again, the only time you're really going to need to look at this whole thing too often is if your timing corrections are really out of whack. So we'll go ahead and turn all of this back off. And here's why I like it doing it on the computer, because if I go ahead and turn on, let's see, where was it? Was it rail pressure? It makes the bottom graph nothing, you know? You can't tell much from this at all. So this is why I like using the computer. Um, Data map or data zap, it is really good to share and show others. So if you're in a tuning group, this is the best that you can do is, hey, I'm having these issues. Here are my mods. Here's my data log. What do you guys suggest? And if you're ever looking or thinking that, hey, I don't know if my map is actually looking good or not compared to other people's, drop a comment in a group, join a discussion, join a post, Facebook tuning group, something. Be like, hey, can someone give me or drop a map of their car running perfect, solid? I want to know what it looks like. Optimally, you tell them, hey, I'm running stage this. Here's my mods. Anyone with somewhere good running car, show me your map, and just compare and contrast. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that I helped out. I was able to teach you something. If you have any questions at all, drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them as soon as possible, answer them to the best of my ability, or guide you in the right direction for them. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night, and remember to always stay humble.